happy Tuesday, June 20th, 2023, and welcome to a brand new edition of what I like to call the Isolation Cabin. I am your host, the vegan you believe in, Kurt Cadet, aka Conscious Kurt, in the flesh as always. And here on the Isolation Cabin, I like to talk about the different forms isolation takes on, whether it's good or bad, the effect it has on us and our mental health, and what we could do to have a better understanding and better handle of it, to have a better quality of our lives going forward. Today I want to talk to you guys about a subject I kind of dabbled into several episodes ago when I talked about my 10 years of being a vegan. And that topic I'm going to dabble into today is about being your own person and standing by your beliefs and your values despite what other people may think and what they may say about it. Unfortunately, in the world we live in, people who do live their lives on their own terms and stick by whatever beliefs and whatever values they may have, in many cases they are looked at as the outcast, and because of that, everybody else who thinks differently isolates them. Yeah, because if the way you do things and some of your beliefs differ from what's popular and what everybody else does, those other people who do it that way are bound to look at you as if something is wrong with you. And also they're bound to not let you into the popular group and not let you into their group of friends and things along those lines. And hey, it's not a good feeling when you're pushed away from people for something you didn't really do wrong. And it can feel lonely at times, but despite those feelings, it is very important to not cave in. No matter what they think, no matter what they say, no matter how much they may make fun of you for it, it's very important that even if all of that is going on, you still do things on your terms anyway. As long as you're not hurting anyone, and as long as what you're doing doesn't come from an evil and negative place, then what anybody else thinks and what anybody else says should not even matter. The most challenging thing to be in this world, from what I've seen through experience, is something as simple as just being yourself. Because the society we live in, as long as I've been alive, has always encouraged us to be like everybody else and do things like everybody else. And if you don't do it that way and you do it your own way and you have your own things you like, then you're a weirdo and you're a freak and nobody's going to want to hang out with you or be your friend. Yeah, unfortunately, that stuff happens all too often. But caving into that pressure and caving into those haters and whatever shit they're spewing at you, that's not going to help you reach your full potential. And it's also not going to make you happy, not even a little bit. And like I said before, it does get lonely and it does get isolating when you are that kind of person who has a way of life that differs from other people. But staying on that path and continuing to do things your own way is what will give you the most out of your life. So why do people isolate and ostracize us for having different beliefs, different views, and a different lifestyle from theirs? What is it about that makes them so upset and so butthurt that they don't want to have anything to do with us and they want to push us as far away as they possibly can? Well, a big part of the reason why they do this is simply out of ignorance and just not understanding. There's an old saying that people always fear and always hate the things that they don't understand. So if they see somebody dressing a certain way, talking a certain way, eating certain foods, or having a mentality and having a belief system that maybe they've never been exposed to before, it's going to make them think that there's something wrong with that said person. And because they think that there's something wrong with them, they're probably not going to give them the time of day. They're probably going to distance themselves from them. And in many cases, they'll probably even make fun of them and fuck with them for it. And that's the easy thing to do, is to make fun of something and make fun of someone that you simply don't know anything about. Instead of trying to understand them and maybe listening, they just resort to that. And you want to know why they resort to that? Because it is easy. And that's the thing with following the crowd and doing what everybody else does. The reason why they do it is because it is easy. And that's why it's hard for somebody to go against that and do their own thing and live life on their own terms. Because when you do it that way, you're probably going to have less friends. But you know what? If people aren't even willing to hear you out or willing to at least try to understand you, then you don't need their asses. Trust me, you are better off being by yourself and isolated, ostracized, whatever have you, than being around a bunch of assholes like that. Yeah, because if people are really your friends and people really have your back, then they will accept you even if they don't agree with everything you do or everything you say or certain beliefs you hold. Sure, they may not adopt those certain things into their own life, but they're not going to make you feel like there's something wrong with you or ostracize you or make you feel like less of a person because so. Yeah, just when people don't understand and don't know anything about something, they just make asses of themselves. And another reason why you might feel ostracized and isolated by everybody else because of your lifestyle is because they're going through peer pressure themselves. Because realistically, most people who will make fun of someone or make fun of something that's different and goes against what they do regularly, they'll usually do it because they see everybody else or a whole group of their friends doing the same thing, so they want to fit in and do the same thing with them. Yeah, people can be so desperate to be cool and so desperate to be a part of whatever's popular that they'll go as far as to make fun of someone or be an asshole to someone just because they don't understand them and just because they're different. We've seen it happen all too often in high school movies, high school TV shows, what have you, and even with some of the political stuff in recent years. Yeah, because deep down they may not secretly even have a problem with whatever everybody else is making fun of, but because everybody else is making fun of it and they don't want to feel left out, they'll just hop on the bandwagon. They'll make fun of a TV show, they'll make fun of clothes, they'll make fun of the food you choose to eat, they'll make fun of a political party you belong to or political beliefs that you have, whatever it is. If it's something that everybody else is making fun of and everybody else thinks is weird, chances are they're going to want to join in on the fun and do it too. Yeah, because peer pressure is a motherfucker. No matter what anybody else says, peer pressure is a motherfucker. And sadly, in these cases, peer pressure can cause you to be a closed-minded asshole and treat somebody poorly who realistically never did anything to you. If there's something that's super popular that everybody's jumping on, that everybody's all on the bandwagon over, you have to really keep an eye on that shit. Because usually in many cases, the thing that's popular and that everybody's raving about and everybody won't shut up about, in many cases, it's probably some whack shit. So if you don't want to partake in that whack shit, do not fall into peer pressure. And also a way of not falling into peer pressure is by continuing to just be yourself and do your thing and stand by whatever values you have, even if people are fucking with you over it. That's real power. And also many people will ostracize you and isolate you for the way you live your life because they feel threatened by it. They may not admit it, and the way they may act may say a different story, but a lot of the times people will make fun of you for your beliefs, make fun of you for the food you eat or the way you speak because it makes them feel some type of way about themselves. They may see you living your life freely and doing things your own way, and that might make them jealous that they can't do that themselves. And instead of dealing with that jealousy, they take all those feelings out on you by calling you a freak, calling you a weirdo, making any joke about you that they can come up with, and not allowing you to be a part of their inner circle. Yeah, it's real out there. People who feel threatened, people who deep down are jealous but don't want to admit it, they usually won't act in a way that's rational or a way that's smart. But as I said before, I know that pressure can be a lot. And I know that being ostracized from everyone else and made to think that there's something wrong with you because of the way you do things can be a struggle. But even if it is, you should still keep doing it. And there's many a reason why you should keep doing it. And one of those reasons why is because living your life that way is something that will build the most character. You see, having character and being your own person are certain things that aren't maybe celebrated as much as they should be. But trust me when I tell you, you will get the most from these things in your life. Because let's say there's a certain politician that everybody likes and everybody's all raving over and won't shut up about. But you see things about that politician a little differently, and there's certain things about that politician you may not trust. So you decide not to be a fan of that said politician and not being a supporter of them. And people have the right to disagree with you. People have the right to like that politician if that's their choice. But they do not have the right to make you feel like less of a person because of your choice. And if you don't want to like that said politician, if you see things that are bad about them, and even if everybody else criticizes you or hates you for speaking out about it, the hell with them. If that's how you feel about them, if that's your stance, then you don't need to back down from it. The hell with that. And if that's how you really feel, and you choose to stand by that, regardless of if anybody else thinks differently, then that's the way you build character within yourself and establish the fact that you are your own person. Yeah, because people don't have to like the way you live. They don't have to agree with the way you live and how you may carry yourself. But like I said before, as long as you're not hurting anyone or being an asshole to anyone, then that is your prerogative. And you don't have to tone yourself down or act a certain way just so other people will like you and think more of you. As I've said on this podcast many times, that shit is for the birds. Also, another reason why you should stand firm by your beliefs and the lifestyle that you choose to live is because shit like that is what makes you a good leader. Because there's a big difference in this world between being someone who does what everybody else does and being a follower, and doing what you know is right and what works for you and being a leader. Because when you're a leader, you take control of your life and you take control of the situation surrounding you. And by choosing to be your own person and live your life your own way and not let anybody else dictate otherwise, then you're displaying that leadership. You're displaying that you are somebody that others can listen to and others can learn from. And if they choose to follow, they can follow that lead. Yeah, because like I've said before, it's easy to be a follower. It's easy to do what everybody else does, even if it's wrong and even if it's stupid. But being a leader, standing on your own too, as challenging as it may be, it'll be the path that'll gain you the most respect, not just from others, but yourself most of all. And also, last but not least, the main reason why you should always be yourself and never compromise that is because that's the path for yourself that'll be the most fulfilling. Because I talked about the whole settling thing on my podcast last week about how unfulfilling and unrewarding settling is. Another thing that is also unrewarding and unfulfilling is being somebody who follows the herd and does what everybody else does and thinks the way that everybody else does. Because if you follow the crowd, you're only going to get as far as they do. But if you create your own path, create your own way, and do things your own way, then you'll go to places and you'll see places that crowd could never even fathom to see. And while they're wondering why their lives are the way they are, why nothing ever changes, and why their lives might be in a way boring and unfulfilling, you'll be the one who can say that they actually lived their life to the fullest potential, gained the most from it, and because of that, you turned out to be the happiest compared to them. Yeah, because if you do everything else everybody else's way, then that's all you're gonna get, is what everybody else got. But if you do things your own way, go down your own path, and do things in a way that's creative, organic, and original, then the things you see and the life you gain from that is gonna blow your fucking mind. Because if you do things that no one else has ever done and create a path that no one else has ever created, then you'll live a life that no one else has ever lived. And that's what you deserve, is a life that no one else has ever lived except you. And that's fulfillment. That's rewarding. When you live life on your own terms, you're your true authentic self, and you don't budge on that shit for anybody. Because living your life that way and going down that path is the biggest difference between living and simply just existing. So I ask you guys, ladies and gentlemen, today, which person do you want to be? Well, that's all the time I have for you guys today. Hope you guys enjoyed this episode. And like I've said before, I'm not a licensed doctor or a therapist, but I do have a lot of experience in my personal life dealing with a lot of these issues. So I use this podcast as a platform to help others deal with them a lot easier than I was able to. And if you want to talk to me about this issue among many others, you can feel free to contact and follow me on any of my social media platforms, whether it be Facebook, Instagram, or LinkedIn. Look up my first and last name, Kurt Cadet. Also, you can listen to this podcast on Spotify, Spreaker, as well as YouTube. Leave a comment on any of the episodes and let me know what you like about them and what you don't like about them. And I will be here for a very long time to come, I promise, talking about this issue of isolation, the good and bad that comes from it, the effect it has on us, and what we can do to have a better handle on it in the future. So until next time, this is Kurt Cadet for another edition of the Isolation Cabin. I will catch you guys next time. And remember, do not be an asshole in real life or on social media, because that shit is for the birds. Take care.